Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Kevin. This is Patrick. And we're joined by our special guest, Cameron. Say hi.
Hello.
So, Cameron knows way more about Overwatch than the two of us combined, and so we brought him on to kind of talk about Overwatch League, which is a thing that started up, 2 weeks ago, I believe?
They've just concluded stage 1, week 2. That's correct.
Okay, so Overwatch League is kind of a conglomerate that is formed from all the other leagues that had been running. Like there's a Korean league, there was a Japanese league, and there was a European league, I believe. And I mean, okay, so our levels of knowledge. Cameron is our expert. Mm-hmm. I play Overwatch some, and I've been kind of following, and then Patrick is also here.
I am here. I want to know about why should I watch and follow Overwatch League.
All right. So the very first thing you need to know,
Cameron,
is that this is groundbreaking in that there were no leagues before. In traditional esports, CS:GO and League of Legends being the two main ones, both of them were circuits of tournaments. So when you refer to them as leagues, there was APAC, which was the Asian Pacific tournament. They would call them seasons, but they were really just tournaments. And it was the same with Apex. Apex was the biggest one. Apex was the one in Korea.
All right. So these teams were a lot of these are teams directly brought over from some of those previous tournaments, correct?
There are, I think, only 3 teams that, 5 teams that were brought over in their entirety. Although 2 of those teams that were brought over in their entirety are now the same Overwatch League team.
Right.
The London Spitfire signed 2 full previous teams.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to see, for me at least, when you were explaining it to me, you were talking about how the different sizes and the different approaches, because, like you said, this is a groundbreaking thing. And so, like, there's, I believe you said that the Dallas Fuel has only, 6 or 7 people on the team. And then there's, the London team that has 2 full rosters available to them.
Yes, they have 12 teams. There's no league mandated minimum, so Florida Mayhem is only 6 people because their owners, who did own previous teams in CS:GO and League of Legends, they had an issue where they previously signed more people than could fit on a team, and there was infighting trying to get starting spots.
Okay. So
it's interesting they don't have a minimum amount of players,
or a maximum.
Well, I can see not having a maximum because you're not having a maximum amount of people. You can't change the game to say, this is now going to be a 6v18 game. That doesn't make sense. But you could bench people.
Right,
that makes sense.
Right, but you could also poach people to keep them from competing against you.
That costs a lot of money. You think there's that much money in esports right now?
I honestly don't know how any money is in esports. I don't understand that concept. But this, my favorite thing about this is that this is, as Cameron pointed out, this is something that we just haven't seen before, and it's really exciting to see where it's going to go. So over the first couple of matches, you said that they were just finishing week 2, and there are absolutely some teams that have risen to the top, and some teams that are not doing so well, including our own Dallas Fuel.
Yes, it is mostly the Korean teams that are doing well.
There are shocking.
There are 3 teams that are all Korean rosters. That's Seoul, obviously. Mm-hmm. London, who I previously mentioned, who has 12 Korean players, and New York.
So the New York and London teams are Korean players?
Entirely Korean.
Wow.
But the interesting thing is, it's not odd that London is entirely Korean, because before the league even started up, the esports conglomerate C9, Cloud9, had hired the entirety of a Korean roster to play in European tournaments. So they were called C9 Kongdu.
I guess for when it comes to professional sports, this isn't something out of the ordinary, anyways, because we've seen this happen in basketball and baseball.
Yeah.
So as opposed to Olympic, but like if you're talking about just professional sports, basketball and baseball have done this as well. You find a specific player and you get them into the United States or wherever because they're the right player. And so I guess also with it being an esport, it doesn't, they can say they're the London team and they don't have to technically be in London. So
exactly, and it's the same as like in football, the highest percentage of people to be in the NFL, it's something like 2.41% of Samoans play professional football. Like, it's really high.
That's crazy.
But, one thing you said was you don't know how esports makes money. I would like to mention, obviously the majority of it is ad revenue, and day one of Overwatch League topped off at 440,000 live viewers.
That is pretty amazing. And then on top of that, you've got the residuals, and so
You also have they released Overwatch League skins into the game.
Yes, I had seen those.
So you can play as you can purchase your favorite league's skin of your character.
Exactly.
I haven't seen that. That's cool.
And you can directly buy those. Those aren't random?
You can directly buy those. They gave everyone one free one.
Okay.
I used my one free one to get a Dallas Farah, but then on top of that, I bought a Houston McCree and a Seoul Genji because I anticipated that those would be my three favorite teams. That has not turned out to be the case.
So what are your three favorite teams then?
Dallas, New York, and Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, interesting.
Yeah.
One other thing that I've really enjoyed, and like I do not understand the game as well as Cameron does. Cameron understands the things that are going on. Like when I watch a soccer match versus when Patrick watches a soccer match, because I can see a play that might be developing. I can see the strategy and whether it's going to work, and so I can get excited about 15 seconds before Patrick knows anything is happening.
Oh, sure.
And I'm sure it's the same case with Cameron. He can see a play developing. And but even for me, as someone who is less knowledgeable, these matches are absolutely incredible because these are the best of the best, having the best of the best of the best, sir.
Yeah.
With honors. And so that's been really fun to be able to see that level of play consolidated from all of these previous tournaments. But it's also been interesting to see that some of the people who had formerly been, top tier people, aren't even involved in this just because everything's moving so quickly. So, Cameron, could you tell us who probably your highlight players are right now?
Highlight players. Okay, I think number one, without a doubt. Number one would be Fleta for the Seoul Dynasty. Okay. Fleta can play almost every hero at such a ridiculously high level.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yes, but also there's some interesting things because World Cup 2017 wasn't so long ago, and the person who but the person who participated most in Korea winning the tournament was Flower, and Flower's not 18 yet, so he can't participate in the league. San Francisco.
That's interesting.
San Francisco has Sinatra, who was on the USA World Cup team and had a phenomenal performance until he went up against Korea. That didn't work out well for him. But and he also is not 18 yet. He's already signed, and he's making $150,000 a year.
Jeez.
League mandated minimum is $50,000, and
Yeah.
San Francisco just decided they really wanted him. San Francisco is, I believe they're 1-3 right now, and that's because their two best players, Sinatra and Super, have not reached 18 yet. They're both signed, they're both on the roster, but neither of them is active yet. There's probably 5 or 6 people who aren't active because they're not 18.
So they
Throughout the
are
league?
poaching them to make sure they don't go to another team. They're basically
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Huh.
So what does the schedule look like going forward? Because I've mostly been watching highlights. I haven't been watching them live. But what does the schedule look like going forward? And are they catering it to the Asian group, or is it at different times throughout the day, or is it based on when the team is? Like if Dallas played New York, it would be on a U.S. time schedule. How does that all work?
So they play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They play 3 matches per set.
Right.
And they begin at different times. On Wednesday, it starts at like 4 p.m. West Coast. On Thursday, it's 2, I think.
Okay.
But it's all U.S. But I think often the last game of the day is late enough that it could be viewed in Europe.
Interesting. All right. So we've had this has been going on for 2 weeks, and so I know that there's going to be different. It's not like an every week thing. They're going to have sections of the seasons. Do you know the schedule on that, or is that just something that people need to look up on their own?
There are 4 stages of 5 weeks, and in between every stage, they'll have a mini championship where whoever's in second place plays the third place team. Whoever wins that game plays the first place team. Whoever wins that game gets a bonus $125,000
per team, or
for the team. I don't know how they're going to split it up and everything like that.
Okay.
One thing you mentioned is that knowledge of the game can help you be excited about what's going on and excited about viewership. And one thing that's been pointed out by the casters is in the current meta, the biggest and most impactful plays are coming from the snipers and from McCree. So as a new watcher, there is no better time to begin watching than right now.
Okay, because their play is fairly simple, and I'll be honest, I can't watch anybody play Tracer. Like, I can appreciate that they know what they're doing, but with all the jumping and rewinding, like I cannot follow where you are on the map, much less what you're trying to accomplish. And so that does make sense that watch the snipers, watch McCree, and wait for high noon.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you would like to point out for people who are interested in checking this out, but maybe still kind of on the fence? What would be the best way to find out if this is something for you?
I think the best way is honestly just watch a map or watch a highlight reel, because they are geolocated now. Like, all you have to do is figure out what team is nearest to your city, look up a highlight reel of them, and then decide that you're having fun watching that and say, all right,
Keep doing it.
let's watch another one.
Makes sense.
So I'm curious, and I'm actually trying to check on this right now. Okay, so there is a YouTube channel called Overwatch League, and so I think that we'll link that down in the show notes. But if you're wanting to check that out, that is definitely how you do it. And Patrick and I still don't know. We're not experts, but we have access to an expert. So maybe we'll check in on this at the end of this first leg and see what you think of the first piece of the season.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
So that's what we have. That's what we have for this week, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much,
guys.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.